That'll do just the distance you need. Okay, we'll start to get comfortable. And take your time. We're here for the first time in, 8 days, so glad to be here. Let yourself just sit comfortably. If you need to sit up on blankets, do it. Let your eyes close gently and just lengthen up through the top of your head and enjoy feeling the breath coming into your belly. Feeling your belly rise gently as you inhale. And then just start to move with your breath, letting yourself come forward as you exhale, and come back up on your inhales so that you keep your back nice and long, starting to just easily move with your breath. Good, and the next time that you come back upright, let's stay there. Release our arms on out beside us here now. And let's inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And exhale our hands right down to be in front of our chest. And then we'll reverse and inhale the arms right on up. And as we exhale, open the arms on back out and like wings. Let's make a big arm circle. Bring your arms forward. Take it easy as you bring the arms up. You know, just be mindful of your shoulders as you reach back behind yourself and down. And then we'll reverse, reaching back first, and then up and over the top, and bringing the arms on forward and down. Good. And now just inhale your arms straight out from your shoulders, flex your hands. Feel the undersides of the arms as you gently press into the heels of your hands a little bit. And then let your fingertips face down towards the ground so you feel more the tops of your arms. And then make loose fists with your hands and start to circle your fists around in one direction. Just keep going the same direction for a couple more. And then stop and reverse the direction of the circles. Feeling your wrists there easily. Good. And then shake your hands out just a little bit. Let yourself come on down. If you're on the floor, stretching your left leg out, we'll cross our right leg over, maybe above or below the knee. In your chair, you can do ankle. Or you can go ahead and do your ankle all the way above your knee if you choose to, right? So be mindful, take your time, so that when you come a little bit forward, you just feel your right hip a little here. So really be mindful of enjoying opening up the hip, not to the point of pain, obviously. If you want to put your hand on your foot, you can press your right foot into your hand a little bit there. Good. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to take a little twist. Inhale here. And as you exhale, twist towards your right. Bring yourself on around. Take your time. Lengthen up. Let yourself feel your sitting bones reaching down. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back all the way around into the other direction so that you come to the other side. Finding that twist in the middle of your back. Feeling the shoulders releasing down, lengthening up through the top of your head. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around and we're going to switch our legs. So coming into crossing that left ankle above the right knee. And again, take your time there, flex your foot. When you start to come a little bit forward, just stop when you know you need to stop, right? If you do feel like putting your hand on your foot, you can press the ball of your foot into your hand a little bit there. So you're engaged up into the hip. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll come on back up. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist towards our left. So bringing yourself on around. And again, finding that ease of twisting in the middle of the back there. yourself, be mindful of where you look so you don't feel uncomfortable in your neck. So one more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center and all the way again into the other direction. So find that sense of length in the back of your neck and throat. Good. One more inhale. And on our exhale, we'll come on back around into center again. And uncross our legs and stretch our legs out a little bit, so whether you're in your chair or on the floor, you keep your knees a little bent if you're in your chair, that's better. And then through your feet a little bit. Circle whether you like to go the same or opposite directions, but feel your ankles there and let yourself enjoy moving through. And then flex and point a little bit too. Maybe you like to pedal, or maybe you want to flex through both feet at the same time. Just be mindful there. Good. And then we're going to release to come on down and make our way around towards hands and knees. So if you don't want to be on your knees, don't knee. Use a blanket. If you feel like staying up in the seat of your chair with your hands, you can be on fist if you'd rather, right? Remember, if your wrists bother you, get really comfortable for your own wrists. And start to just look down between your hands for a second there. Feel your tailbone reaching back, maybe up just a little bit, neutral spine. And then as you exhale, draw on up into your cat pose. Feel the tailbone dropping down. Let your head release down. Feel the navel drawing towards your spine. And on your inhale, send your tailbone back and up and move on back through in towards neutral or cow pose. So start to just ease your way with your own breath. Take your time. You know that if you need to stop in cat or cow, do. You can move a little faster. You can move a little slower. If your breath gets changed to the opposite, that's fine too. You know, there's not really a right or wrong way to breathe. Just let yourself keep flowing through the spine with your breath. Good. And then finish off the one you're on. Come on back to more neutral spine here. And let's step our left foot forward to find that first lunge. Bringing the left foot forward, the right foot back. And remember, how long of a stance you take, totally up to you. Let that right heel reach directly behind your foot so you really get the most there into the back of your right leg. Good. Keep your head being part of your spine so you don't feel like you're lifting your chin up and tensing the back of the neck. Instead, it feels nice and long. And then we'll switch our legs out. So however you need to come to the other side. And remember, you do want to feel like you've got your feet kind of on very narrow railroad tracks, so you feel that sense of alignment there. And make sure that front knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle. Good. And we're going to switch legs again. Coming back with that right foot again, and then press your feet a little away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat so you feel a little more up into your hips. If you feel like bringing your left hand or forearm up to your thigh, you can, but you don't need to. And then we're going to switch legs again. So again, once you get into the lunge and you know you're aligned and you're comfortable, if you can press your feet away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat, maybe you want to rise your right hand or forearm up, maybe not. And then we'll bring our hands down as they were up. We're going to step forward, come into your standing forward bend, and be really mindful here of your back. So, you know, you can stack your blocks up on your chair and come down to forearms up on blocks if that's better for you, right? So, if you know your back is not feeling good, right, when you come forward, you know, be mindful of how high you have yourself up with your torso. You can come farther forward if you're comfortable to put your forearms on your chair. You can bring your hands down to the blocks or the floor if you want. Remember, your knees can be bent. Let yourself enjoy feeling that sense of allowing your head to hang if possible, so you're feeling very released there, feeling the weight of your head. And then watch your breath.
all the way in and all the way out. Feel that sense of the ribs expanding as you inhale. Good. One more nice full deep breath here. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips. We're going to press into our feet and rise up and standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down as we think of letting the top of the head get up higher towards the ceiling. Coming into your mountain pose. So if you need to shift around, or maybe you need to look at your feet, make sure you've got them just the distance apart and fairly parallel so that you feel very comfortable from your feet all the way up through your legs into your hips. And then just press down into your feet a little bit, like you're pushing the floor away from you. Feel your thighs start to lift upward a bit. Feel your tailbone dropping down towards between your heels. And just enjoy. Let the body kind of stack itself up. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms unfold on down beside us. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bend our knees as we come forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back. Lengthen out your spine, really find that sense of a tabletop back. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge here. Draw your shoulders down, away from your ears. Enjoy coming into that lunge there. And we'll make our way into a downward facing dog pose. So you know your down dog is yours, where your hands are, whether they're on the chair or the blocks or the floor. Let yourself reach back through your tailbone, feel your elbows hugging towards each other. If you can walk a little bit, do. Bend one knee at a time and let yourself just enjoy feeling the backs of the legs a little more there. And then come on back to your full dog. And on your next inhale, come on out towards a plank. You don't have to go into a full plank if you don't want to, right? You can come down to your forearms. You can let yourself put your knees down instead and come into a half plank. If you want to stay in plank, finding that core strength, or do a little push-up or 2 or 3, go right for it, go for it. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. Reach back equally through your sitting bones so you find that full length of your spine. Nice. And this time right foot comes forward to find lunge. So how you get there is up to you. Put your left knee down or both knees down if you need to. And then we'll come on back into our standing forward bend. So again, be really mindful. If you need to, you let your elbows be above your knees, do. Or maybe you feel really good to just hang and hold on to your own elbows if that feels fine to you. And then just release into your breath. Full, deep, even as you can breaths. Let go through your face. Especially imagine really releasing your jaw. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips. We're going to press into our feet and come on up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to the in front of our hearts. Let's inhale our hands right back up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms as you come forward again into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back again. Think of your head being in line with your spine. And we're going to step the left foot back to come into lunge. Draw your shoulders down again, really finding that full lunge. Imagine your whole body here in the lunge. And we'll come on into downward facing dog pose. So again, making your way into your down dog. Feel those elbows hugging in towards each other, and imagine that you're equal in the sides of your body, equally long. You know, you can bend your knees as much as you need in dog to find that length of your spine. And then we'll come on out towards a plank. Again, it doesn't have to be a full plank. It can be a half plank. You can go into push-ups if you'd like to. Let yourself take your time. Really enjoy feeling your sitting bones reaching down towards your heels. Good, and then we'll come on back again into downward facing dog pose. And from here, we'll bring our left foot forward to find that lunge. So again, how you get there, totally up to you. And then we'll come back again into standing forward bend. Feet hip distance apart and parallel. And again, just be mindful. Let yourself release to where you want. Hands can be again up onto your back if you want to. Clasp them at your back, or maybe some of you want to put your hands behind your legs onto your calves, or maybe you feel better just to use support so that you don't feel uncomfortable in your low back. Full deep breaths. Let yourself count when you breathe in and count when you breathe out. And see if you can get those counts to be closer to the same when you inhale and exhale. When the inhales and exhales become closer to the same length. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms beside us now. Inhale your right arm all the way out and up. And let yourself come on over into side stretch. So really feel the breath expanding the right rib cage here. Feeling that openness as you inhale, how the ribs open up. One more breath. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to lower that arm on down. And we'll inhale the left arm up. Remember, if your shoulder bothers you and you don't want the arm up overhead, you can still do a side stretch like this without the arm, right? You can keep the arm up if your shoulder allows you to do that. Let yourself breathe into that side you're stretching. Come on back up, lower the arms on down. And now inhale your arms out into a T position. And then bring your right arm on top of your left. Give yourself a hug. Let your knees bend just a little bit so you're making sure you're not rocking your knees. Now you can head towards a half eagle or eagle wrap if you want. You can release your shoulders, send the backs of your hands towards each other. You can go farther to put your left hand fingers into that right palm. Or not, right? You can stay hugging and be perfectly happy, letting your shoulders find what feels good for you. One more breath. And then we'll release the arms, let them release down beside you for a second and just hang. And then we'll inhale them back into that T position again, where their palms are facing down. Reach out through your fingertips. And we're going to bring the other arm on top. So bringing the left arm on top. And again, give that hug. Let your knees soften a little bit. Press down into your feet. Totally optional to release your shoulders to head towards the backs of the hands towards each other. Or again, totally up to you whether you want to stay hugging or make your way towards that full eagle arm wrap. One more breath. And then we'll release and let our arms come on down. We're going to inhale the arms out and up overhead. And on the exhale, come on forward again. Bend the knees as you come into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that long, flat back again. And we're going to just walk into a down dog. So you put your hands on what you like to use. The chair or the blocks or the floor. Reach back again to find that long back. And on your next inhale, come on out towards the plank. Totally optional, you know, here to do a back bend. You don't need to. You can come down and come into a sphinx or a cobra, or you can come through for an up dog. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Walk a little bit in your dog. Let yourself kind of move around a little bit if you need to turn your head, looking side to side a little bit. Let it be kind of an easy dog. And then come on back into your full down dog, and we'll come out towards that plank. And again, it is totally optional to do a back bend, and you know that. You don't need to. You You can come down and come into a Sphinx or a Cobra. You can come through for an up dog if you want to. And then we'll make our way again back into downward facing dog pose. Good. And this time, let's bring our right foot forward to find that lunge. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward again. Right to your breath. Feel the weight of your head if you can. Remember, if it brings discomfort to your back, it's fine to leave your head more in line with your spine. Good. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet, and come on up, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, as our hands come down, finding our mountain pose, do what you need to do. If you need to shift around or let yourself adjust in any way you need. And then once you feel fairly centered in your mountain pose here, whether your eyes are open or closed, just imagine you're looking right out towards the horizon. And just be with your breath. Let the breath, if you can't imagine the breath like balancing you out. Helping you feel really balanced right to left and front to back. And then we'll unfold our arms right on down beside us and shake everything out a little bit and move around if you need to walk through and move where your feet do. I'm going to flip my chair around, so if you're using your chair, you might want to turn it around. Have your blocks handy towards the front of your mat, and we're going to step our right foot back to warrior two. So lining our heels up and getting that right foot about parallel to the back edge of the mat. Whether your feet are 2 feet apart, 3 feet, or 4 feet, whatever, however distance feels good to you between your feet. Take a look at your left knee and be really mindful of feeling it come out over the center of your foot. And then let's just bring our hands to meet in front of our chest. Let yourself come into your prayer hands there. Feel very balanced. Even though one knee is bent and the other is straight, you feel really equal between your feet all the way up through your legs into your hips. And now inhale your hands right up through the midline of the body. And we're going to open the arms like wings and down to warrior two arms, looking out over the top of that left hand. So spread your fingers out a little bit. Really reach out through your fingertips. Soften the tops of your shoulders down. Enjoy coming into the power and strength of that warrior two. And then we'll turn our left palm up. And we're going to inhale, reach up towards the sky. Let your right hand just give you a little support on your leg back there. Breathe into that left side of the body. And on your next exhale, come on into your side angle where your left hand or forearm comes down to your chair or your thigh. And you can decide whether swinging that right arm up into line with the body feels good or not, right? Keep the hand down if you need to. Keep the hand on your hip. Let yourself feel equal to the size of your body here. Good. We're going to come on back to warrior two. Press the feet away from each other. Coming back again into feeling energy out through your fingertips. And then let your hands come on down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel for a wide-legged forward bend. So grab your blocks if you need them, whatever you need as you come forward, right? Bend the knees. If you need your blocks, you can have your hands any height in front of you. And take your time there. Let one knee at a time bend if you're okay to do that. Not if it bothers the knees, right? So coming into the inner thighs. Good. And then come on back into center and take your time. You know, you can stay with your back nice and long and be supported. You can stack your blocks up if you want. Get onto your forearms so that you get out of your hands. Or you can go ahead and fold all the way with hands towards between your feet. So just take your time. If you get one place and it doesn't feel good, go ahead and adjust to another where you feel fine to be. So that you can really let go through the upper body. And watch your breaths all the way in and all the way out. Imagine you're breathing equally in through both sides of your nose and equally out through both sides of your nose. Now take your time. When you're ready to rise up, as you start to come up, if you need to bring your feet together before you get up all the way, go right ahead and do it. Take your time, bring them together however you need, and then walk around a little bit, walk around your mat, kind of move through your feet and your ankles before we come to the other side. So we are going to step our left foot back and come into warrior two on the other side. Lining up our heels again and lining up that front knee, bending it no farther forward than your ankle so you know you're safely there into that bend of that knee, and then bringing your hands to meet again in front of your chest. This time, see if you can lift your elbows up for a second. Feel how you get your palms and your fingers pressing a little more together. And then go ahead and release your elbows down and inhale the hands up through the midline of the body. And on the exhale, open them on down into your warrior two arms. Bringing your gaze out over the top of that right hand. Spread your fingers a little bit. Feel energy all the way out through your fingertips. Press the feet gently away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat. Good. And then we'll turn the right palm up and inhale. Reach up towards the sky. Let your left hand just support you a little bit there. Full breath into the right ribs. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle. So again, it can be your hand or your forearm on your chair or your thigh. And it doesn't matter whether you add that left arm up or not. You can keep the left hand just down on your hip. You can bring it up into line with the left side of the body. Enjoy finding that nice sense of being equally long through both sides of your body. Good. We're going to come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And then let your hands come on down. We're going to turn our feet again to get ready for that wide-legged forward bend. So again, if you need your blocks, bring them on in front of you. Take your time. Let yourself adjust again if you want to bend a knee at a time to let yourself even out a little bit there. And then come back into center and let's head over towards the right. So you can either walk your hands on the floor towards your right foot or you can shift your block over to the right. Let yourself stay there as far as you can go there and stay with your breath. So just enjoy letting the legs adjust. And then we'll walk back through center and we'll go to the left. Again, whether you walk all the way to your foot or maybe you'd rather be on your block in front of your foot. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Try to let yourself release through your neck so if you can feel the weight of your head do. And then we'll come on back into center again. And now bend both of your knees and see if you can let your elbows rest above your knees so that you can find that nice flat back. So it's a squat. You're reaching back through your tailbone. Think of your back being nice and flat and long. Enjoy one more breath there. Good. And then go ahead and release to where, again, you think you're going to be able to stay in the pose and be comfortable so that your upper body can be really relaxed, right? Obviously, you are standing, using your legs, you're feeling your hips, but it's trying to really let go from the waist up so that you're able to feel the breaths, expand the ribs easily. Let your face go. So if you're feeling like you're tensing up, try to imagine just releasing all the muscles of the face. Good. One more nice, full, deep breath. Now again, as you take your time to rise up, you adjust however you need before you come up. You can use your hands to help you. Walk your feet together, move around again, walk around again if you need to. Good. And this time, we're gonna bring our hands either to our chair seat or to the blocks and step our left foot forward and our right foot back and come into a lunge, right? So just letting yourself find a regular lunge here at first. And then we'll just add an easy twist, bringing our left hand to our left hip and roll that shoulder up. You can keep your palm down on your low back there. You can, if you want to stretch your arm up, do. Pay attention to how your shoulder feels. So it's fine to leave your hand down. Good. And then we'll bring our hand on back down. And we're going to come into a pyramid from here, which means that right foot is going to come all the way down to the floor and the front leg is going to straighten out. So both legs are straight. The back foot is turned out a little bit, 20 to 30 degrees for most of us. So the heel is turned in slightly, right? Thighs are engaging up towards the hips, and you're going to try to find a nice flat back, which might mean you need to come up higher, right? So when you're down lower, sometimes it's harder to find that flat back than if your hands are higher. So adjust how you need. Feel the thighs lifting up towards the hips. Try to imagine that your hips are even, right? So you're trying not to keep the right hip back further than the left one. You're trying to be fairly even and level in your low back. And then from here, bring your left hand on up to your hip like we just did for a twist and see if you can add a twist here. Looking to the left, lower it, keeping that hand just down there on your low back, finding that twist in the middle of your back. Good, and then we'll come on back down with the hand. Now, if you feel like you want to go farther forward over that front leg and kind of bow over it, you can. If you know that that's not in the stars today, don't do it. One more breath. And then we'll come up enough to bend the front knee, and we're going to step forward with that right foot, and right away step back with the left foot and come into lunge on the other side. So finding that tip of that runner's lunge, reaching back, now with the heel directly behind your foot, and we'll bring the right hand on up and add that little twist, rolling that shoulder up if you can. You can put your palm down onto your low back if you can. Lengthen out through the top of your head. Good. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. Now we're going to make our way towards that pyramid. So again, you're going to bring that back foot fully onto the floor. Both legs become straight. Let the heel reach back so you have just a slight angle on that back foot. And feel your thighs lifting up towards your hips and come into that nice length of your spine, right? So again, you're trying to imagine your hips are fairly level and your back is flat. So if you know you're kind of feeling rounded up into the middle and upper back, imagine your heart melting down more towards the ground, flattening your back out. And bring your right hand on up to your right hip, low back if you can. You can roll that shoulder up if you feel good to do that. Coming into that twist in the middle of your back, feeling the thighs engaging up towards the hips. Good. One more breath there. And then come on back down with your hand. Good. If you want to go farther forward over that front leg and bow a little bit, that's totally up to you. Remember, if that doesn't feel good, don't do it. Opening up into the backs of the legs. One more breath. And then we're going to come up enough to bend the front knee. We're going to step forward and come on into standing forward bend. So take your time, get your feet underneath you, use whatever support you need. If you feel like you want to go ahead and fold over your legs, do. Really release your head, let your head hang. Good, one more breath. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips and bend our knees and rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up.
And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our hearts. Find your mountain pose there. Be mindful. Let it feel really good. If you need to sway, let yourself sway. Sometimes just going side to side or front to back feels good. To get eventually centered between your feet. Feeling your tailbone reaching down towards between your heels, kind of towards the back of your heels, really. Good, and then we'll let our arms come on down beside it. Shake out a little bit, move around more if you need to. And we're going to leave our mats where they are, but we are going to walk to a wall and use a wall so that you can have your hand to a wall. Find a wall that you feel comfortable to be at. Feel like you have space. Oh, okay. Yeah, you'll be fine there. That's good. So we're going to turn left. Now let's do right hand towards the wall. Let's start with our right hand towards the wall. And come in a little tree pose, standing on your right foot, with your left heel coming in either to the inside of your ankle bone there, or inside the calf, right? Or even bringing your foot up to the inside of your thigh, if that feels good to you, right? Find where your hip feels okay to be. Bring your gaze forward so that you're not looking down, rounding into that back. And then see if your right hand can rise higher up the wall if possible. Left arm coming up as well so that you have your hands like in a V shape. You can turn your palms towards each other. You can keep your right fingernails on the wall if you want. Or you can think about letting go of the wall, balancing. Coming into that tree pose. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself release down. Turn to face the wall. Let your hands walk down the wall. And come into your down dog with your hands at the wall, if you can, if your shoulders lift, right? So if you're able to be parallel to the floor with your body, let yourself be there. If that's too much for you, don't do it, right? Feel the length of your spine. Reach back through both your sitting bones. Find that nice flat back. Good. Now if you can here, shift your weight onto your left foot. Lift your right foot up in the air into a little warrior three. You don't have to go very high. You can just stay there for a second. You can reach the leg up more parallel to the floor if you want. One more breath. And then bring the right foot on back down. Go ahead, bend both your knees. Let yourself reach back through your tailbone. And then walk on back towards the wall and turn your left hand towards the wall. And we're going to come into tree pose with our right foot, either heel to the inside of the ankle bone there, up to the inside of your calf, or up above if you want, up into the inside of your thigh, as high as you can get that foot up there. And then that left inside arm, if your shoulder lets you, can come up the wall, right? And if you are able to let the right arm come up, you know, if you're more comfortable to keep your hands at your heart instead of bringing them up overhead. In other words, if your shoulders are telling you to do that, do where you can. Feel the foot gently coming into the wherever it is on the inside of your leg, and let your leg kind of feel like it's coming back into your foot a little bit. Nice. And then we're going to release and let ourselves come down, face the wall again. And again, let yourself come on back into that down dog. So, if possible, once you kind of get to where you think you're okay to be, glance at your hands and make sure that you don't have one hand up higher than the other one. And then feel your elbows hugging towards each other like you're holding a beach ball between your elbows. Now coming into the idea of the left leg coming up in the air is totally up to you whether you want to do that little warrior three or not. You don't have to, you can keep your feet on the floor. Take your time, let yourself flex through the foot if it's up. Point the toes down, think of the pinky toe facing the floor. Good. One more breath there. And then we'll come on back. And let's walk in towards the wall and come onto our forearms up at the wall. And then just step your way back like you're doing a forearm plank right here. Pressing into your forearms at the wall. You can clasp your hands, send your pinky out,
press into the outside edges of your hands. Let it feel really good here to come into your shoulders. And if you're okay, to lift your heels up when you inhale and lower them back down when you exhale. If that feels okay, you can let yourself even do that a little bit. Inhaling the heels up, exhaling them back down. Otherwise, just stay there without doing the lifting of the heels if you feel better just to stay in your plank, right? Good. So one more breath there, whether you're moving or not. And then just shift your hips back a tiny little bit, which changes, the angle of for your shoulder here. Totally up to you whether you go just a little bit or decide to come back and stay in your plank. I know some of you will want to slide your forearms down the wall, shift your hips back, and come in even more of an angle there for your shoulders, right? More of an angle at your hips, right? That's really up to you. Don't force it. This is very different than being on the floor too. So be mindful. Take your time. Good. And then when you're ready, walk on back in towards the wall. Let's turn around with our backs to the wall. And clasp your hands behind you. Just easily interlace your fingers like that. And then see if you can, so that keeps your bottom away from the wall, right? See if you can then just let your head rest back a little bit into the wall. If that's too much for you, don't do it. Just stay right there with your hands at the wall and look forward. If it feels good, put your head back in the wall again. Keep your belly lifting a little bit. So you feel your tailbone still kind of dropping down, right? But you're feeling your belly working. It is a little bit of a back bend, right? Opening across the chest. Good. See if you can do a couple of three-part breaths. Inhaling into your belly, and then your ribs, and up into your chest. When you exhale, you imagine the breath coming out of the chest, and then the ribs, and then the belly. Good. One more breath. And then release your hands, and now shift your hips back. Walk your feet forward. And you may just want to stay right here with your knees a little bit and just release back to the wall with your shoulders. Some of you, it might feel better to come forward and put your elbows above your knees and release your back that way, right? So that's up to you and your back. If it's better to stay up with your back at the wall, stay up. If it feels good to put your elbows above your knees and like really support yourself there with your hips at the wall, then you can do that. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly bring ourselves up if we were forward, right? Walk our feet on back. And we're going to come back onto our mats and come down onto the floor, onto our bellies. So take your time, let yourself come on down and make a little pillow with your hands maybe. Rest your forehead on your hands. And bend your knees when you get there. Let your feet do whatever kind of little foot dance you want to do back there. Move around. And you can always let your legs go to those windshield wiper blades too if that feels good for your back. Good. And then come on back with your legs long and go ahead and point your feet for a second. Let yourself feel the tops of the toes on the floor, the tops of the feet on the floor. Good. And then bend your right knee and flex your foot and feel like you're just pulling your heel in towards your buttocks a little bit, right? Feel the quad engaging there. And then go ahead and stretch that leg back down long, and we'll do the left side. So flex the foot, feel the heel drawing in towards your buttocks so you feel your quad. Good, and then come on back down with that leg long. See if you can just barely bring your head off your hands. And bend the right knee again and flex the foot. Now you don't have to be any higher than this to be engaging your back body, right? If you want to go higher, you can. You can reach your right hand back and get hold of the top of your foot if you want to. That's totally up to you. It's an option that's there but doesn't need to be done. And then we're going to release. Come on back down with everything. And then let yourself lift your head a tiny bit off your hands and bend your left knee. Flex the foot. Right? There you are. You're using your back body just to lift your head up off your hands. Totally optional again, whether you like to reach back and get hold of your foot. You can, but you don't need to. Half bow pose. Good. And then we're going to release and come back down. And now go ahead and bend your knees again. Let the lower legs come from side to side if that feels okay for your back, those windshield wiper blade movements. Good. And then come on back down and let's come on to our forearms into a Sphinx pose. So that if it's possible for you to get your elbows under your shoulders, do. If that's too much for your back, slide the elbows down more towards your waist so that you're still in a back bend, but you know, maybe this one's too much to go all the way. But just be mindful. Let yourself bring your gaze towards between your hands and let the front body just easily open up here. Good, and then let's bring our hands together, clasp them, send your pinky out, bend your knees and lift your hips up into a half forearm plank. So pulling yourself towards the front of your mat, really feel like you're just pulling yourself forward onto just right above your kneecaps. Keep your belly engaged and there you are, really into a big core pose. If you want to put your feet down and lift up into a full forearm plank, you're welcome to do that. Whatever feels good to you. If it feels good to come into the full one, you can. If staying in the half one feels even better. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release and come on down. And now, let's shift back towards, don't go all the way to child's pose. Come back just a little bit with your hips. Kind of be on your hands and knees, but let your hips be back a little bit more if you can. And then we're going to come forward a little towards a cobra pose. Now, if you'd rather, you can come to cobra right here from the ground, right? If you feel like you like to come from up on your hands and knees and then forward in towards that back bend, that's up to you. You be where you can. And if either one of those is out of the question, you can stay in that Sphinx pose again. Good. And then from here, we're going to head towards pose of the child. So as you let your big toes come towards each other, knees apart, you can decide if you need your hips to stay in the air and yourself to be kind of forward onto your forearms. And you can still rest your head towards your hands, or you can shift your hips back towards your heels, letting yourself come into, and that's a deeper knee bend. So we all know that's not for everybody. See if you can just feel your breath coming into your low back. Nice, full, deep breaths. Good. One more breath. And then take your time. Hands by your knees if that helps you to rise up. We're going to come around to sitting. Let our legs come on around in front of us. So if you know sitting is better for you to have a blanket underneath you, grab a blanket. Sit on a blanket there. And then, kind of like we started in class with our left leg long, bring your right leg over for a second into that figure 4. Just to see how it feels. And then see if you can lift the knee up and hold on. And you might have the foot down lower, that's fine. See if you can hold on below your knee to your shin so that you can lengthen up through your spine. So really drawing up through the top of your head. Good. Take a nice inhale. And as we exhale, we're gonna twist towards our right. So let your left hand stay towards your shin or your knee and bring yourself on around. And you can decide whether you feel like you wanna bring your arm across to the outside of that leg, or if your knee's up really close to your chest and you wanna hook your elbow around it. But just enjoy feeling that twist in the middle of your back. Good, one more breath here. Now really think when you come back to center about using your belly to draw you back around, right? So you can sit up tall again right when you get back into center. And then we're gonna switch our legs. So again, at first do that figure 4 for a second. Let yourself flex the foot, lengthen up. And then when you can reach the knee up, you can adjust where you put the foot. If you need to bring the foot to the inside of your leg, do it. Hold on where you can so you can really find that length again. And then as you exhale, come around into that twist. So again, as you come around, lengthening up at the same time. Good, feeling your chin parallel to the floor. Good. And one more breath here. As you bring yourself around again, think of your belly drawing you back, and find that length as you come back into center, lengthen up again. Nice. And then stretch your legs on out in front of you and just wiggle around a little bit with your legs. You can do little wiper blades. You can even do little bounces. If you like to bounce your legs up a little bit, be easy. And then we'll just let our soles of our feet come towards each other. Now, you can have your feet way far out in front of you. You can have them in halfway. You can bring them in towards you. You want to find where you feel like you can release in your hips. And even doing the blocks underneath for support here, if that helps you feel better in your hips so that you can sit up nice and tall. And if your knees are naturally up higher, which has to do with how your hips are built, there's nothing you can do about it, right? Then you might want to support yourself up higher and sit up nice and tall here. Lengthening up. And imagine that your knees are just simply reaching a little bit away from each other. So you feel that sense of your inner thighs getting longer. And you can stay here. You can use your hands behind you if you need to support you. If you want to come forward, you know, not everybody is built to come forward in this pose. But if you feel like you can come forward from your low back a little bit, maybe even letting your head hang at the end, even rounding a little bit in the upper back, if that feels okay to you. Be mindful, let yourself feel a nice release in the hips. One more breath. Good. And now we're going to easily come up. Take your time as you come on up and bring your knees on up and stretch your legs out again. And take your time, shake out. We're going to head down towards our backs on the floor. You might want to keep a block handy or a couple of blocks handy. So when you come down, be mindful, get yourself feet to the floor if you can. See if you can maybe just come into a couple of little pelvic tilts. So as you exhale, you feel your tailbone curl upward, the low back come down into the floor. When you inhale, you just let that release. So just finding those little tilts. Let them be really low and deep. So you're not thinking of lifting your hips up. You're really just curling the tailbone up when you exhale, and when you inhale, let it just release back down to natural. Good, and then finish off. Come on back into normal neutral spine. Bring your arms down alongside you and get your feet a little wider than you are in mountain pose, setting up for bridge pose. And then bend your elbows to 90 degrees so your palms face each other. And press into the backs of the arms, the backs of your shoulders, which rises your spine up off the mat, right? Roll your shoulders under a little bit. Stay there, keep pressing into your arms. And then maybe you want to go ahead and float your hips up, pressing into your feet, rising up into bridge pose. You don't have to go high to be in bridge. You can be an inch off the floor. You can go higher if you choose. Try to feel the back of the head gently into the ground, right? You don't want your chin to lift up away from you. You also don't want to let the chin go way down. So you're feeling this sense of length in the back of your neck, the back of your throat even. And you can come down whenever you want. If you feel like you want to lengthen your arms long and stay up in bridge, maybe you want to grab a block and put it underneath your hips and come down and rest in supported bridge. So if that sounds like a good idea, you can bring the block any height you want underneath your hips. You know, you're trying to remember, you don't want to hang off the block. You want to be supported on that flat part of the base of the spine, the sacrum there. And if you're in support and you want to just relax in it, do it. You can always lift yourself off the block and come back down if you like, you know, moving up and down from the block or the floor. Take your time. Let yourself, you know, you're going to feel your thighs in bridge pose. You certainly don't want to feel any kind of discomfort in your back in bridge pose. So sometimes just changing where your feet are makes a difference. I know a lot of you like to be in support and then lift your leg or both legs up in the air. If you feel like you want to do that, feel free to do that. Or you can be on the block and stretch a leg down long on the floor too, if that feels good. So you open the front of your hips. Do leg lifts too if you want to. Just be mindful. Let it feel good. You know, let yourself just enjoy. And you don't have to stay in bridge pose any longer than you want. You know that. You can come down whenever you're ready. Good. So take your time if you're not already down and think about coming down. Once you do get down, let your feet widen a little bit on the mat. Let your knees come side to side. They don't have to go far. That's up to you. You might just want to let them come a little bit side to side. Or you might want to let them come down towards the ground on one side and then the other. That's, you know, that is really up to you. Good, and then make your way on back with the knees up. Bring your feet closer together again. Go ahead and cross your right ankle above your left knee, all right? And figure 4, and you might want to just stay right there with your left foot on the floor, or you might want to draw your left thigh in towards you, maybe even clasping behind your thigh there, flexing through both your feet. If that's too deep, don't do it. You know, if it's too deep in your hip, keep your left foot on the floor. Some of you might even want to extend the left leg long, right? If you've got the foot off the floor, and it feels really good, you can extend your foot up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to bend the knee if it was straight. We're going to put the left foot down if it was up. And we're going to uncross and switch our legs. So as you do this one again, you might want to keep your right foot on the floor with your left ankle above your knee. You may want to draw it in. And this is all to do, you know, with your own hips, whether you feel like it feels good or not. You can flex through both your feet and be happy right there, letting that hip just release a little deeper. And then, of course, if you'd like to extend the right leg long like we did on the other side, you can do that if that feels good too. Good, and then we'll bend that knee again if it was straight. We're gonna put the foot back down if it was up and uncross. And then bring both your knees in. Now you can either just let your knees go side to side. Maybe if you want to do a happy baby, you can send your feet up and come into your happy baby pose, or maybe something else sounds like a really good idea to you right now, right? So if you need to let yourself bring the soles of your feet together, maybe you feel like you just want to stretch everything long. You might want to put your legs long, your arms long, stretch your body out. Any number of things might feel good right now. So take your time. If you need to move in any other way, do it. If you need to do another pose, by all means, let yourself come into another pose if that sounds like a good idea. Take your time and start to come around to get light at first, and then I will come around and start to bring support. If you know for Shavasana you are not comfortable to lie flat, don't make yourself do it, right? But the most important thing is to be comfortable so that you can let everything now relax. So bolsters or under knees. Blankets if you need for underneath your head or for cover. Remember, we have all this stuff here. So, bolster, regular. Now remember, if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, now is not the time to be brave and make yourself endure, right? Now is the time to really allow yourself to release into the floor and find a comfortable place for your arms and your legs. And just let yourself follow your breath now, all the way in and all the way out. And if it helps you, you can bring your awareness to those little spaces between your breaths. So watching at the end of your inhale, that little pause before you exhale. Same thing at the end of your exhale, that little space or pause before you inhale. And just imagining that you can relax even more in those little spaces between your breaths. And just give yourself these few minutes. Giving your body and your brain time now to benefit from all you just did. Just allowing yourself to completely and fully relax.
to rise up, take your time, let yourself kind of float your way up and sit comfortably with your own hips, whether it means stretching your legs out or crossing your legs or grabbing a blanket to sit on if you need to, or a bolster. Let yourself feel your eyes gently close if they open on the way up. And just bring your focus back to watching your breath coming in and going out. And on your next exhale, let